Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a little rant that came to me recently as the result of a comment, really a very nice and intelligent comment, but that still raised some issues that I want to discuss with you. And the bottom line is, folks, stop pissing on popular culture. Classical music is not at war with popular culture. It isn't. And we'll get to that conclusion by a circuitous route. Let us begin with the initial comment that engendered this particular bit of hysteria in which I'm about to indulge. In response to my video about us old farts getting our revenge and being ageist and whatnot, a viewer wrote, "I'm sure you're right about the demographics of most classical listeners. I guess I was an exception. I was fully in love with classical music by my teens and have been ever since. I know a few teenagers now that love classical music as well. Don't assume that the young don't like classical music. Some do. I think a lot more of them would if it was more present and if adults didn't try to dumb it down to get them hooked." Well, I have no argument with that. That seems right to me. I was hooked when I was 6, which was my response. There will always be people who are hooked on classical music, and I make no assumption about whether they ought to be or can be or can't be or how many there are or whether or not they will be. None whatsoever. However, after that little bit of wisdom came the inevitable. Oh, God, here we go. And quite honestly, the viewer writes, it's partly an issue of parenting and culture. Here we go. With the endless supply of instant gratification style garbage, entertainment, and social media, and our own lack of discipline as adults, it's not surprising that many kids and their parents don't have the patience for a beautifully played Bruckner symphony. As I replied, most people don't have that. And I didn't have it in Bruckner's day either, but that's another issue, isn't it? In this Kardashian era, people, young and old, haven't much use for the rigor of following a serious musical argument. Oh, please. Oh, what can I say? Listen. I have had it with classical music people trashing popular culture. Yes, a lot of it's junk. Yes, a lot of it's popular. Who cares? It's fun. People enjoy it. We're all in the same boat. We're all trying to get through life and have a decent living and enjoy ourselves and fulfilling times with those we love and our friends, and we do it in a myriad different ways. And everybody has the right to choose the way they want most. And I have to say, there is nothing wrong with easy gratification. I mean, life is full of difficult gratification. Easy gratification is wonderful. I love being gratified. I mean, we've had this discussion before. People compare pop music to pop music and popular culture to intellectual junk food. Well, I say, bring it on. I love junk food. It goes with everything. It's marvelous. I mean, I just don't understand why people think they're better or it's better to subject people to the rigors of a serious musical argument. I don't enjoy serious musical arguments because they're rigorous. I mean, no, I don't get up in the morning and say, what rigor can I subject myself to this morning? I like it. That's all I need to know. I like it. I like junk food. I love junk food. Oh my God, you can look at me. I love junk food. I mean, here's a typical sample. Well, we have, what's this? Crystallized ginger from Thailand. And these are marvelous. These are Keebler Club cheddar sandwich crackers filled with some sort of strange orange substance that purports to be cheese, but is handy to have because if there's a nuclear holocaust, these things will never go bad. They last forever. They have a longer shelf life than that of a Twinkie. And then we've got, of course, how can you get through life without Lay's potato chips? I mean, really? And along with the Lay's potato chips, we have Asian rice crackers because junk food is now international. We have international junk food. These are the Asian rice crackers, the Japanese things. They're wonderful with little wasabi things and seaweed wrapped doodads and stuff that, taste like it washed up on the beach and then rotted. It's amazing. And then we have, junk food that's supposed to be good for you. Harvest Snaps. Baked green pea snaps, wasabi ranch. Do you honestly think these are any better for you than, for example, I don't know, what is this? Pipcorn cheese balls made with real cheddar as opposed to the fake kind, which probably tastes better. And we've got, let's see, you can't live without Doritos. This is Cool Ranch, but of course I have nacho cheese in the other room. I just didn't feel like bringing both of them out here. And Whoppers, the original malted milk balls. I mean, that's very nice. And pardon me. This is, I regard as one of the highest products of Western civilization and culture. Pepperidge Farm goldfish crackers in the megabyte cheddar size. I mean, slightly larger than the other goldfish crackers. These are not only absolutely fabulous on their own, I mean, they're just an orgasm in your mouth. They're amazing, but they are the essential accompaniment to Campbell's cream of tomato soup. Cream of tomato, mind you, not made with a can of water, but with a can of milk. And you put these two things together and you are in heaven. So my point is that, there are just all of these things out there for us to enjoy. And we're all going to gravitate to the things that we enjoy the most. And classical music may be one of those things. I hope it's one of those things. But the point I want to make, the overall point I want to make, aside from the fact that all of this junk food is absolutely necessary if you're listening to DG's Pierre Boulez box, as I mentioned in that particular video, where you have snacks. Snacks go very well with music, and they go very well with classical music. I mean, Doritos and Mahler are a fabulous combination, and I don't understand what the issue is, and that's my point. My point is, this is not a zero-sum game, folks. It isn't. It isn't. People can enjoy garbage or popular things, which we call garbage, and then they can enjoy classical music just as well. I mean, there's time enough for all of it. And whether or not somebody gravitates toward one thing or the other is not because they're being pulled away by all of these nasty, awful, insidious, cheapy gratification things. I like all this crap that I eat, of course, but I also, and I'm embarrassing myself because my mother watches these videos and I'm going to get a call when this one's over. Believe me, she's going to be horrified. But she knows. I mean, she knows. But the point is that you can do both. You can do all of it. It's all out there for us to enjoy. And when I was a kid, I loved junk TV. I still do. I like game shows. I like court shows. I like Judge Judy. I like Perry Mason reruns. I like, me and my partner Sean, we watch all of this. We watch cartoons. We do things. We have a great time. And the reason, and this is the sneaky reason classical music people don't want you to know, is that there is more art and thought and design and in putting together a package of Doritos than in any classical release you would care to mention. Since the dawn of time, by the way, because these things make money. And because they make money, the companies responsible for producing them, first of all, create them to appeal to the largest number of audience, which means that they have been market tested. I mean, I used to do marketing test things with a friend of mine, one of my very dear friends who did marketing for a major U.S. brand, and we together traveled around the country doing focus groups, and I wrote new product concepts. And if you know the amount of effort that goes into just producing the simplest, most basic product, insecticide, Johnston's No Roach. It's the money that gets invested, the expertise, the thought, the testing, the product development, the packaging, the design, the artwork, the advertising. It's unbelievable how much time and effort and brilliant minds are behind these things that we all regard as junk. And they aren't junk. They're not, I mean, they are products. They're out there, and some are more popular than others. But the fact that some are more popular than others doesn't mean that some of them are worse, or the fact that they require less of an intellectual commitment or a background of knowledge and experience doesn't make them inferior. Not at all. It's just the opposite. It's the classical world that just dumps piles of dreck on people and then expects them to say, it's wonderful, it's fabulous, it's terrific, even though none of them have been market tested. None of them they haven't made the slightest effort at outreach to any audience, young people, old people, or they just assume that if you build it, they will come. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. And it's a totally warped way of looking at how popular culture operates and how our society and civilization operate. And there's nothing wrong with it, for heaven's sake. I mean, people who are musically inclined find music. I know millions, billions, so many pop artists, classical artists, serious classical artists who love popular culture and popular music selectively because they don't have time. You have as much time as you have. I get that. But, when I was a kid, I used to watch all this junk television, as I was saying, and I loved classical music too. And it was all just part of my life. It was what I enjoyed. And the point is not that you have to force classical music on people to the exclusion of anything else. You are never going to sell the product, whether it's classical music or anything else, if you do it by trying to teach people to hate something. And I guarantee you that that's going to fail. You can't say, listen to this because we're better than that, because we're superior, because that's garbage, it's crap, it's embarrassing, it's humiliating. No, you can't do that, because we all like a lot of this stuff. And we want to be able to like what we want, everything that's out there. If you look at the world as a smorgasbord of pleasurable activity, and you have to create your own mix. And what we want is that classical music should be part of that mix. And the only way for it to be part of that mix is for it simply to be there as an option for those who are inclined to enjoy it. It's always going to be a small minority, always, because of the nature of the beast, because it takes time, because it does take a certain amount of effort and energy. It does take a certain amount of education, perhaps. But for people who love music, and it doesn't matter whether they're pop artists or not, they're going to absolutely gravitate toward the greatest manifestations of music that we have. The highest and best, or the most complex, or the biggest, or however you want to define it. You don't have to cast it in moral terms. I was playing Mozart's G minor symphony the other day on the way to talking about, this thing, it's down there, this Tarmo Peltokoski, the new Finnish wunderkind conductor. We were talking about him, and he did the Mozart G minor, and I was playing the minuet, and my partner went walking by, and he said, I've got a rap song that uses that. And it does. And, if people look at this as a resource, it's a wonderful resource. It's out there for all of us to enjoy. And if rap artists gravitate towards the classics or use it as material for their productions, there's no reason that young people won't find it either, because it's out there. It's not like it's hidden. It's everywhere. Classical music is everywhere. It's ubiquitous. And people who are attracted to it will pursue it. And we have to have confidence that that's what's going to happen. We can't sit there wringing our hands like this. Oh my God, young people aren't listening to it. It's all going to die. It's all terrible. It's crap. People have been saying that for hundreds of years. And where are we now? With more stuff, more availability in more different ways of sound carrier media than has ever been the case in all of human history. And the more we have, the cheaper it gets, and the more it becomes like our sort of grotesque vision of pop culture, which is, cheap, easy, worthless, I mean, it's not. All the money is in pop culture. It's not in the classics. And we've got it backwards, folks. You really got to think about that a little bit, you know? And I remember vividly when I was a kid, you know, and I loved all of my trashy TV, and I would come home and watch this stuff. And my mother, who was always very conscientious about these things, had her list of banned television shows. I mean, that's what good parents do, right? I would totally disagree with the fact that, you know, parents are you know, somehow, you know, trying to dumb everything down for their kids. My mother didn't try to dumb anything down for me. She just left everything the way it was. And maybe she was special. I mean, she was special. My mother, both of my parents were special. But I think a lot of us would agree that a lot of our parents are special. But aside from that, she had her list of banned TV, you know, shows that were so stupid that she just wouldn't let me watch them. I mean, she was offended by them. You know, things like, you know, sometimes Gilligan's Island and Petticoat Junction and, you know, the Gilligan's Island knockoff Dusty's Trail. Remember that? It was the same sitcom, only they were going out west instead of marooned on an island. I mean, these were things that I was not permitted to watch. Somehow I managed to see all of them anyway, which is kind of interesting. But, you know, even the stuff I was allowed to watch, the Partridge Family, the Brady Bunch, you know, all those usual things, the quality pop culture would be regarded by so many classical music people as, you know, just the same old dreck. There's no distinction. But, you know, let's just teach our kids, if we're going to get to that subject, and ourselves, by the way, to enjoy what we enjoy without shame, number one. Number two, to be discriminating. That doesn't mean to look down on things. It means to be selective, because we have a limited amount of time in our lives and we have to choose what we're going to spend our time doing. So let's be selective. And if we choose Pepperidge Farm Megabytes over, you know, filet mignon or something haute cuisine, well, good. Enjoy your megabytes. It's all about what you like. Let's let people like what they want to like. And classical music has a natural place in the lives of however many people who are destined to enjoy it. There's no point in bitching and moaning about it. And this attitude that you know, we're at war with this horrible popular life because there's social media and because there's all this instant gratification and because the Kardashians exist. I mean, that's just nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. Life is not a zero-sum game. The fact that you like one thing doesn't mean you can't like anything else. And the best way to get to classical music is if you treat it like anything else. I'm telling you, it's a fact. That's the way it works best. If it's a natural part of your life that's just like all the other things that you have, which are either easier or more difficult, it's your choice. It's your choice. But we should teach our kids, and we should make those choices, and we should make them without having to look down on anything else. It's just so cheap and cheesy to, you know, just feel like, I don't know. You get the point, right? I don't have to go on anymore. I've been ranting for long enough. But this topic really does get me, because I think we're making such a terrible mistake in our evaluation of life. And you know, I mean, are we really that unhappy because we like classical music? Does that mean we have to be miserable about everything else? There's something not mentally all there about that. So keep on listening and munching and enjoying whatever else is out there. I mean, let's relax a little bit. Just chill. Take a pill. And keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.